So let me introduce our guest today. This is Mr. Ottum from Bakersfield College, and he teaches a music class up there. And he just reached out to me so that we could reach out to you guys if you're passionate about music. And it's probably a little different than what you think when you hear music. So he's going to tell us all about it, tell us about his program. And if you got any questions at the end, we'll have time for questions. So, all right, take it away.
All right, great. Thank you, Dewey. Yeah, my name's Professor Josh Ottum, and I run the commercial music program up here at Bakersfield College. And so we started this just a couple of years ago, and it's essentially a bunch of classes that deal with music and technology. So a lot of our students that come in actually oftentimes do things with video as well. So I get students who are interested in making beats and writing songs. You get students interested in mixing and mastering. You get students interested in maybe trying to create soundtracks or sound design for their video projects. You also get students just interested in the business of music, which I also think is sort of, you can easily connect to just the business of multimedia entertainment, right? So there are a lot of similarities across there. So all I want to do today is give you a studio, or give you a tour of our facilities here and talk to you about the classes we offer, and then answer any questions, because I don't think a lot of people know about our program up here because it's pretty new. So right now I'm in my office / storage room. A lot of offices become storage rooms, as Dewey probably knows, and many other people know. But in here we have a ton of audio interfaces, which are where you would plug a microphone or an instrument into a computer. We have a bunch of beat making and synthesizer, different types of machines. We have tons and tons of microphones and headphones and all sorts of things available. We also have kind of a big trove of instruments: electric guitars, drum sets, amplifiers, and so forth. And so our main lab here, I'll just kind of show you, is a Mac lab. We have all new iMacs as of last year. And each station also has a MIDI keyboard here, a full-size piano keyboard, which also controls all of the software we use here in the lab. We have a big stack of messy microphone stands over there. And then this is kind of the centerpiece, I guess. This is the main console, recording console here. So we have sort of a classic analog mixing console, a really nice one. And then a lot of the fun way to talk about these are just the knobs and faders, right? But all of this is called outboard gear here. And this is some of the best sort of audio outboard gear in the world, essentially. A lot of this stuff is used on classic records throughout time. Again, we have other musical instruments here. So a lot of what we do is sort of electronic. We'll do some electronic music. Can you hear that a little bit?
Yeah.
And then the way this sort of control room sort of connects is through this window here to a soundproof booth. And in the soundproof booth, we record everything from drums to vocals and everything else. We actually do a little podcast here.
Cool.
Kind of an interview type series, and then record a lot of people's original music as well. Also a fun little station over here. If any of you are into hip hop, I would assume at least one student is, because a lot of people are. We have kind of an old school vinyl record sampling station here, where you can actually lift samples from records onto this sampler and then create beats in sort of a more organic, traditional way. So that's kind of a tour of the facility here. And then since we're in the music building, it's easy for us to be remote. Inside this big box here, we have a remote mixer that we often wheel around, and then we can record ensembles throughout the building or outside, and so forth. So I guess what I wanted to do is just talk to you about the classes we offer and tell you about the nature of the program. Let me kind of on the go with my laptop here, but so basically we call it the Commercial Music Certificate of Achievement. And so there are 6 classes involved in this certificate, and they often go, can be finished in a year. So 3 classes per semester, and you can finish the certificate very quickly, or you can take them at your own pace. And I'll just briefly touch on these classes, and then I'll open it up for questions. So the common class that students often start with is called Introduction to Music Technology. And you want to think of that class almost like a buffet course, right? You're kind of learning a little bit about the things that you're going to really focus in on in the other classes that you end up taking. So Intro to Music Tech will actually be offered this summer online, but I've really developed it. I actually worked on developing it online before the pandemic even happened. So it's a really nice course to take online, and you can do it as long as you have some kind of computer. You could even do it with a Chromebook, and it's just a chance for you to really learn about the technology and different types of microphones and a lot of different aspects about music technology. So that's called Music B30. If any of you are really interested in this, you might just want to write down Music B30. It's actually abbreviated MUSC. If you were to look at the Bakersfield College catalog, MUSC B30. That's offered as a sort of a streamlined 4-week course this summer. And then it's also available in the fall. And every class in this 6-part certificate is available every semester. The other courses are Commercial Music Composition, which is actually kind of a songwriting class where you learn about writing songs, but also even composing for advertisements, composing for movies. And then we have a music business class, which again, I try to teach that a little bit more like an entrepreneurial class. So even if you're someone who wants to go out and make movies or make videos, that music business class is really focused on just kind of a career in the arts in a way and learning how to be an entrepreneur. And then the 3 sort of capstone courses are live sound, recording techniques, and sound design and synthesis. And I think sound design and synthesis could have maybe the most crossover with a video course because it really focuses on bringing sound and video together. And also a lot of techniques like voiceover, Foley art, which I'm sure some of you have maybe heard about. That's sort of the art of creating sound effects. And then understanding how synthesizers work. So I might have linked, I can link like an informational website to your instructor where you can look at these courses again in detail and everything. And then he can also maybe send along my email, and anybody can email me any questions you might have about this. I guess the last thing I'll say, and then I'll take some of your questions, is that it's a certificate program. So what students often do is they might come to BC, let's say, and they want to do an AA in art, with an emphasis on multimedia or something. Or they might want to do an AA in business, and whatever they want to do, and they want to take a few of our courses like music business and introduction to music technology, and that's it. And that's actually totally fine. Other students might want to come and earn the whole certificate alongside of an AA. And other students might want to just come and earn the certificate and leave and go to the next gig, whatever that would be. So we get all types of students, but what hit me lately is a lot of the students that actually are interested in these courses, and I believe even more so in the future, are not really music students necessarily. As you all know, everybody's using Zoom and Twitch and OBS, which maybe some of you have heard of, right? Open broadcast software, right now during this virtual situation. And that requires a little bit of understanding of sound, right? You have to understand video a bit, but sound is a whole another component that you're going to run across throughout your whole life if you work in video. So by far the most affordable, accessible option in the Valley that I know of. I don't know of any other um, programs like this in a 100-mile radius. If you go over the hill to that little town south of us, there might be a few down there. But when it comes to sort of price and accessibility, I think this is a really great opportunity. So yeah, I just wanted to spread the word about it today. And then I'm really happy to answer any questions you might have.
That's very awesome. Yeah, if you guys have questions, just unmute and ask. I have a few, but I don't want to steal your guys' questions. So go ahead, anybody. Don't be shy. Nobody can see you. You can just unmute and ask. Got any questions, Angel? No?
And let me ask a student maybe to unmute and tell me, what software do you usually use in your video courses right now? What software do you, or what forms of software do you come across during your courses now?
Yeah, tell them what we're editing with right now.
We are editing with WeVideo.
Okay, and Carlos, what's WeVideo all about? Is that a software you had to download to your computer, or is it a web-based application?
It's a web base where we just edit videos.
Okay, gotcha. And are you able, when you're editing in WeVideo, are you able to see the sound file separate from the video file?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so a lot of what we end up doing in some of these courses is I give students, for instance, a project where they find an advertisement on YouTube, a 30-second ad, then they'll just download that video, but they'll mute the sound and create their own sound design for that. Whether it's a soundtrack or just kind of sound effects, you know, for a car ad, trying to line up the skid sound with the car as it skids out, or so, you know.
Yeah, that's what I do that with my video class too. We do that.
Okay, awesome.
Good I deal. Usually download like a short scene from a movie, like like Back to the Future,
and then recreate it sort of.
We just call it the Foley project.
There you go.
And
yeah, so we've done some of that in this class, also with recording, you know, actual Foley sounds. So commonly, if someone's breaking a bone in a movie, it's when they twist some celery.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I bought in some celery before, and we do things like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've always been interested in Foley. I've always liked it because I took students on a field trip to Warner Brothers Studios years ago, and they let us go in the Foley studio and let us walk around and just see all the stuff in there. And yeah, it was fun. Yeah. It's kind of a dying art, unfortunately, but it's good to know about it and good to understand how it works. Yeah. Other questions for anybody? Yes, I think you answered this question, but so do kids know how to read music in order to take these classes? Not at all. That's kind of why I'm reaching out to you all today, is because none of these courses require any kind of musical training, essentially. And the only prerequisite is this Introduction to Music Technology class is the one class you have to take in order to take a few of the others. Okay, yeah. But the sequence we have worked up is essentially you could take 3 right out of the gates, and then the other 3 you can take after that because you've got the one prereq out of the way. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm trying to spread the word, because I've found more than half of my students in these courses are not coming from music in high school. They're coming from other places. You know, they had other interests in high school, and music technology and things happen to be in their interests. You know, whether they're just fans of listening to music or whether they kind of dabble with making music on their computer or something like that. So. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
I have one.
Yeah.
Just saying, if we were previously in band, would we need to use some of the skills we learned in band?
They would certainly help you. They will not hurt you at all. But none of these classes necessarily deal with notation. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to have you sight reading anything. But absolutely, if you were previously in band, I've actually had a couple of students sort of make that connection where like, oh, I played clarinet in band, and then I maybe put it down, or I still play here and there. And I've had students come in and sort of create, let's say, electronic music, right? But then record their clarinet in conjunction with that stuff. So a lot of cool connections get made that way. Like I showed you over there too, that turntable is another place a lot of students have made connections where they sort of realize they may not have musical chops or musical skills, but then they kind of really take to that sample-based music thing, which is kind of the foundation of hip hop as we know it. So absolutely, if you have any kind of musical background, it would certainly help you in these classes. But we focus so much on the technology piece that it's not a requirement for someone to come in and have to be able to even carry a tune.
Nice, yeah. Well, I think we definitely need to partner up because last year I was supposed to get a new iMac in this room in here, and it just never happened. But and I didn't want to order more stuff to not knowing like what I really needed. So
Yeah.
I think if we could get my room set up in here with, kind of introduction of what you guys have up there would be awesome. So that kids that really, like this kind of stuff it would be a natural place for them to go.
It's a natural fit, and really all you really end up needing, I mean, I can actually show you, this is kind of informative for your class too, that the three close to essential pieces of gear you may need nowadays are a computer, an audio interface, and all this is the thing that gets a microphone into your computer.
Is that like I have a Focusrite?
Scarlett Solo, whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the most common one, that red one. Yep.
Right.
And so that's kind of the bridge between like something that makes sound and your computer, right? So if you play a synth and you want to get that synth into your computer, chances are good that you'll need an interface. And then the last little piece is called a MIDI controller. And this is, I'm willing to bet some of you have seen something like this before. And this is just a box that allows you to control all the sounds built into your software. So if you kind of picture music software in your computer, you can play those interfaces and trigger all the sounds inside of your computer. And just for sort of an understanding of budget too, like we're talking, the price of the computer is the price of the computer, but then, as you probably know, the interface and the MIDI controller, each one's about $100. And then you can get a reasonable mic for about $100. So for $300 total, you can essentially be in business.
Yeah. Well, we have, I think most of that stuff, maybe not. I used to have an Axiom. I think it was an Axiom.
Yeah, MIDI controller.
Looked very similar to that one you have with the little pads, drum pads on it. I think I have one here. And then the kid that kind of put this room together, he ordered a couple keyboards, so I have some MIDI keyboards.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool. Yeah.
They're just not really set up in there. So
yeah, it's an easy thing. So we should stay in touch about this because doing an on-site course there, the B30 course, could potentially be a good idea to kind of make students aware of it. And then the neat thing is when students can create some of their own sounds maybe, and then get those sounds into the video projects they're working on, right? Like
yeah, awesome.
That's a great bridge. So good deal. Any other questions?
Any other questions, you guys?